Robbie, how are you?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I can see some equipment in the background here. We got some stereo action
Yeah, yeah,
happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in studio Blackbird Studio in Berry Hills in Nashville.
Very cool, very cool. I would think just being in Nashville must inspire you. Just right there, just that
Oh,
being a part of
totally,
it.
totally. I mean, there's music everywhere, and everywhere, people. It's crazy. Waiters, at the bar, bartenders, everybody plays music. It's very inspiring. Yeah, it's fun.
You probably could almost ask them the question when you're being served somewhere or something. So what do you do in the music business?
Yeah,
No matter where you're at, right? Because everybody's
exactly.
trying to make it work. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
there was a saying that if you come to Nashville, stop at the gas station, and the guy at the pump plays guitar better than you, turn around.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I want to take a quick moment to introduce you to our future guests, our future listeners and watchers. My guest today is Robby Johnson. He's a Nashville-based singer-songwriter who's had just a great amount of success in the world of country music. He just keep getting being in front of people. And he's got a brand new single coming out on February 7th called Thank God It's Friday, or TGIF,
Yeah.
however you prefer. And I just thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your show, and I'm looking forward to the questions.
Yes, yes, we're ready here.
We're ready.
Nothing too hard, no curveballs, promise.
Well,
Um, Songwriters are always happy when they can connect with the listener when they really connect lyrically. I'm sure when your lyrics, you're either doing a show and you see someone singing the words along with you or whatever.
yes.
You hope to hang on every word, but especially in the case of TGIF, I think the listener really has to do that to get to the real meaning. And I thought I'd let you explain that a little bit.
Yes. So this song started off, it was a love song. I was writing a love song, and because I just let it out and I fool around with the guitar. This time around, it was on the piano, and I was doing a chord progression, and words just come out, spent the whole week thinking about you. I'm like, oh, wow, it's a great love song, and all little thing. But then it got a twist. I was like, oh, what's happening here? All the nuances in your blonde, make my knees weak when you go down. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what's happening here? But it's beer. It's a love song about beer. It's a drinking anthem and about Friday because that's the day where you can drink more than one because you don't work in the morning. You don't work the next morning. So really, I just let it out. I was like, oh, this is so funny, and I just love it. And yes, it's another beer song, but you know what? Sometimes, I was like, oh, not another beer song, but country music, what I love about country music is that it's about everyday life. And people happen to drink beer and love drinking beer. Super Bowl's on the way. I bet you people's going to be drinking some beer.
A little
So,
bit, yeah, yeah.
yeah, a little
Hmm.
bit. So it's everyday life. And that's what the song is about. A lot of people, they think about it. They can't wait for the work week to be done and get to the beer and have a little buzz and have a good time and enjoy the weekend. So that's what the song is about.
And songs like this become staples for the weekend because people they relate to it because like you said every person the every
Yeah.
person that works all week, and even if they like their job, even if they love their job, we just like to have non-structured time to sit in front of a TV or to
Yeah.
whatever and have our favorite beverage, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and the song, it doesn't it kind of says it's beer, but it can be wine. It can be anything you want on Friday night. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. That's awesome. Yeah. I so it's it's sometimes it's a song like this that just catches fire, and so the right person hears it, the right person gets a hold of it, and before you know it, you know you're begging off people. Okay, I just need a few minutes to just
Yeah.
because you just never know. It's that one single, that one
Yeah.
song.
Exactly. I truly wish 10 years down the road, I'm like, oh, not that thank God it's Friday song again. You know, I wish it happens. But yeah, you never know, an influencer on TikTok or whatnot, and he picks up the song and makes a video, thank God it's Friday, and it goes viral and wow, and you never know. You never know what's gonna happen.
It really could happen. It really could because there's just and being in such a melting pot of music in Nashville, one person knows another person, neighbors end up being part of the business, whatever it is,
Oh
somebody
yeah.
knows somebody, and you just never know. You're in the right place
Yes.
to have things happen. Better chance of that than maybe like I don't know, some corner of Arkansas. No offense to anybody in Arkansas at all, but just as far as where music settles, the big cities and
Yeah.
the big music cities in the country.
But still, you never know. You might be doing a little gig in front of six people in a bar, and happens that someone from Nashville is there and falls in love
Absolutely.
with you and is like, "Hey, I wanna be with you in this. There's something. I love you. I love what you do. I believe it. Let's do this together." And if you take a look at all the big stories, the big acts, they all have this moment. Chris Stapleton,
Yes.
Luke Combs, and a lot of people have. Garth Brooks had this moment where someone that's maybe not even totally in management or whatnot, and they're just like, I want to be your manager, I want to make this happen, I know it's going to happen. Luke Bryan, Carrie, she was song plugger, she wasn't a manager, but she was like, I want to be your man, let's do this, and it worked.
I think it's 50% passion,
Yeah,
40% work ethic, and 10% just plowing ahead. It's not
yeah.
necessarily, like you said, you don't necessarily have to have that management experience, because if you believe in somebody and you believe in what they do, it's just the
It's
passion
so
is just,
easier
it's
to sell.
affectionate. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's easier
infectious.
to sell. It's
Right.
infectious and it's easier to sell. If you're managing an artist and you don't like what they do, you're not going to be, insisting on, hey, you got to take a listen to this. You got to, give this guy a
Right.
shot. And the sad part is that today it's less and less like that because companies, shows, bookers, and all that, they look at numbers, so they go on to Spotify and, okay, well, he doesn't have the numbers, or, whereas before they would listen to the managers say, oh, he's the best, he's going to be huge and he's great. Crowds love him, and okay, I'll give him a shot. But now they instantly go on Spotify and check the numbers like, no, I don't think so. It's not going to work. So it's frustrating. It's a manager that told me that
Yeah.
it's frustrating because no matter how much, leverage I have, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's a shame. It's a shame. The industry has really changed a lot, and with as good as digital technology is to be an internet and all the access we have to the whole world with
Yeah.
people, there are some very good things, but unfortunately there are some downsides to it too.
Yeah.
So
Well, one good thing out of it is that if you don't have that manager, you don't have that leverage and all that. If you have the numbers, it's because people love your music and it's a testament. And so that opens doors where in the past you would not have had that tool, in your toolbox. You
right.
needed that manager, you needed that major label, you needed the push from all those big guys. But today, you can go viral on TikTok and, get 30 million monthly listeners on Spotify from one song. Can you imagine? That's
It's amazing when you
huge.
look at
It's
numbers on
amazing.
things. They're staggering.
Yeah. And then you get calls from, events wanting you, in their festivals and all. So there's a downside and there's an upside to it.
And you've had a couple of numbers to talk about with like CMT, for example, right? Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
CMT numbers and the countdowns, the six packs, and all that. Tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
So my first music video I released, it was put on the CMT. Back then it was CMT Pure 12 down countdown,
Right.
and it's fan voted and it won multiple weeks in a row. So much that they removed to give the other guys a chance. But it was pretty. I think it was 6 or 7 weeks in a row in the top one, or two or one, and it was staying there at the top. But it was a really, really nice video. We shot it in Jamaica. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure twist your arm to be in Jamaica for several
Oh
days, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it was a little crazy though on the island. Just what would be normally a 45-minute drive turns to 3 hours
Wow.
because you have
Yes.
to go all the curves and all the goats. It's kind of
There's no
crazy.
straight path, and
No,
you never
there's
know
no
when you might be
nothing's
stopped by a herd of animals, like you said.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you've had some of those successes with the videos. The videos catch on. You've done a number of them. You seem very visible as I look out into the social media world. You've done a lot of different things, and it
Yeah.
looks like right now your focus is more single by single, right? To get to that
Yeah.
one single that reaches, because you've done out full length albums, and that
Yeah.
part's changed too a little bit. We're kind of in a
Yeah.
so many people out there that we got to reach them on a regular basis.
Yeah, and it because when you release an album, you know, you have a single, your lead single, you release the album, and then it kind of disappears, and you kind, you know, you lose. I
Yeah,
don't know. It's like you're kind of wasting material because people pay attention to what is released, what you're pushing. So if you're pushing a lead single, then you might push another one, but there's all these other songs that are you find are great and people don't really pay attention to them. So it's kind of sad, but I mean, it's good. I mean, when you're an indie like me, I think the single approach is better. But when you're a big name, you know, like Morgan Wallen, of course you want to release uh 30, even he could release a 90 song album and people would just go through the whole 90 songs and he would stay on top of Spotify and all the charts for a year, you know. Well, that's what he's doing right. But you know, that's the thing. It's a different approach when you're a major and people are just, I want more.
right,
It's
right.
different than when you're working to get discovered by people.
But even then, sometimes I think because people listen to so much music on the internet that they do a lot of shuffling. They look for that one song. I mean, I'm sure you're right. There's a lot of people that will go straight down a new album from someone big like that. But it's the same token. So many people, the concept of sequencing a whole album of song by song the way you want it to be heard by the listener, it's almost non-existent. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
and
it's very artistic though. I love the approach of, you know, making an album and putting it in an order where you feel like it's the way the listeners, you know, the kind of the journey, that's the journey of the album. That's cool. And it's like I think it's really artistic. It's like painting a picture,
yeah,
you know. So that's really cool. But it's today, you're right. And also, then you have all those algorithms. AI is telling you what to listen to. They're like, oh, he likes this. Let's just give him this. And so discovery is a little harder
yeah.
for that matter. And I was hearing, you know, there's a channel on Sirius XM where John Mayer is like, I was getting tired of, you know, listening and being fed what they think I want to hear. I wasn't discovering, it was getting boring. So I was like, let's do a channel where the music goes with the time of the day. But
Interesting.
it's very, you know, it's not always the same song over and over again. It's a lot of discovery. It fits the time of day. You know, if it's morning, then it's a different mood than when you're driving late at night. You know, that's more Phil Collins
Yeah.
in the air of the night. But yeah, so that's really interesting, and that's the thing. You know, back then we had radio, and we would discover music through radio. But now
So
it's
different. So different.
yeah, it's. I read today there's 100 million songs on the platforms that are played only 10 times per year. 100 million songs that get
Wow.
10 streams per year. Because
There's just so
there's
much out there. And that's why,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
to be
there's a
able to
lot of
have something
music
out
out
there
there.
that people just catchy, like you're like TGIF, it's catchy and people hear it and it sticks out amongst that ocean of songs. And then before you know it, because other people are listening to it, that probably helped the logarithm too, I would think,
Yeah,
and and there's just that's the other thing about the internet being kind of in a positive way is that you can reach people that maybe you couldn't have reached years ago. And someone might
yeah,
reach out to you. Think about some of the things that have happened in the last 15, 20 years. Journey,
yeah,
lead singer, hired by seeing he's on YouTube video, replacement lead singer, saw him in the Philippines, right? And they hired him and he's out there doing it. He's been with him for years now. They really struggled to
yeah,
find somebody to replace Steve Perry. And now he's out
yeah,
there doing that. And so many stories like that are someone just saying, hey, I don't have any work for you, but your song was really good. And it's someone like, some major artist. some major
Yeah.
artist telling you that, hey, keep doing this. I can't help you right now, but keep. And how inspiring would that be? You know, so you reach
Yeah.
people that you maybe couldn't reach in the past. They were protected by assistants and managers, and you know. So
Yeah, and it's kind of still that way.
is it still? Yeah.
Yeah, they always find a way, the majors, they always find a way to have their say on what's trending or not. But still, with social media, there's a way to break through, which is really cool.
So if so someone hears this song and they really like it, where would you send them next in your catalog of singles or the albums that you've been doing? What song, like, you know, you've had song, and I know they're all like children to you, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
like, what is that next song you say, you know, if you like this, you got to hear this, and you're going to want me on your stage, you know,
Yeah.
you're going to want me to do a show at your venue.
All right. Well, I mean, there's a few. I would think, Thank God It's Friday is kind of a love song, and I would send them to Love You Kind of Wine, who also has a clever lyric, and it's also a love song. It was released for Valentine's Day in the past, and I mean, I really dig this song, and it's really cool. But I mean, if it all depends what they want to hear, because I you can't really put me in a box.
Right.
I have those, country rock, heavy electric guitars. I have country pop. I have traditional country. I even have that old style Johnny Cash country that I have that I've released. And it's all because I think about the live show and I don't want it to be the same song over and over again. So we'll go from more current stuff, more pop, leaning country, go into traditional country, train beat, people clapping and, stomping their boots. And then you just bring him, you just finish with some country rock, heavy guitars, lots of energy and up tempos, and people just love it. And
Sounds great.
it's
Yeah, the variety. How could they not love it? The variety is amazing. You know, and
it's a
sometimes people
journey.
go, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's
When they
kind of
leave there,
like
they look back and like, yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like when we were talking about an album where it's a journey. It's
yeah.
kind of that's the same approach for the live show for me. Because I've been to major artists, I've seen major artists performing, and it was all hits, hit after hit, but it was always the same song, and it was getting kind of boring.
Yeah, I can appreciate that for sure. You know, I go to a lot of concerts. I try to, you know, when I can, and not so much as I get older. It's been harder. But
Mhm.
when I was in the prime of my youth, I was, you know, I was like,
What are you
you know,
talking about? You're still young. Come on.
oh, thank you. Who paid you to say that?
No, I mean,
I'll send the check later on.
there's never there's I don't know how many thousands and thousands of humans that are over 100 now. And so, I mean, you're still young.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I used to go to a lot of shows, and I used to work in the business where I was going to shows through the label. My job was to see a show. Okay, that's kind of rough, you know. Twist my arm again, you know, twist my arm to go
Yeah.
see a show. Or and yes, you're right. There are some artists that, like someone like a Bruce Springsteen, who would do a 3 hour set, different songs every night, which I don't know how he does it. You know, different songs every night.
Yeah.
And there's some, you know, some very specific.
Variations. If
Yeah,
he does the same song,
right.
there's gonna be a variation, of
Right.
the
Never
same
done the
song.
same way twice in the same week or month or whatever
Yeah.
tour, you know. And it's just I admire people like that because it is easy to go up there and say, okay, these are my songs, 10 songs. What's the next song then? You know, or mixing up the encore and mixing up the last three songs every night. And it keeps them fresh too, I think, for themselves, their own internal happiness to mix up the songs a little bit.
Yeah, that's what's fun when you have a full band, a real full band, and you're not relying on, backing tracks where, the drummer just press play. You have to follow the tracks, and
Right.
you really can't screw it up, because then he has to stop the tracks, and then it just, whoa, where did everything go? Where's the band,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Scary
yeah, it's
moments.
fun.
Yes.
I prefer having a live, because I did some shows, a tour with backing tracks, and I was like, no, it's not the real thing. I want the band, and
Right.
the following tour I had, seven guys on stage, rocking. So it was a lot of fun.
Makes a big difference, but doesn't it? And you enjoy it more, and the audience enjoys it more, and they
Yeah,
got people on stage just really helping to fill that moment.
yeah, it makes it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I want to be sensitive to your time today. I just have a couple quick questions for you that we kind of
Sure.
talk about this the major artist in the big world of major to whoever that means, because to your fans you're their major artist because they see you at the different festivals, they see you on stage, so everyone is a major artist to somebody, and for the songs and the things you've done. But then we know there's people that you or I might go, oh my goodness, I'd love to write a song with that person, or I'd love to tour with that person. Is there a person, or I should just ask you, like when you were growing up, who was that? You mentioned a lot of different styles. Who was that person that really you love their music and it inspired you?
I'm inspired by all the music, I would say. Where I got inspired, it wasn't about the music, it was more about entertaining people. And it's Garth Brooks, where, he's in a venue before the show and he will sit in the bleachers and look at the stage and ask himself, how can I make this the greatest night of this person's life, in this
Right,
person's life, make it as, the greatest thing. So I have the same approach. So that I got inspiration from that. And it's funny because one time I did a residency in a theater, and the show starts, and I have these lights coming at me, and I can only see like the first, three or four rows, and then it's total. I'm blinded by the lights. I don't see anything. And I'm not the kind of guy who will pretend, point at someone, that I don't even see. So I stopped the show and asked the lighting engineer, turn on the lights. I want to see the people. And he turned on full lighting, and the crowd just went crazy because I was like, I want to see you guys. You guys are beautiful. And it created this moment in the show. And since then, I do a light check. There's a sound check, but I do a light check to
that's
make sure
great.
I see everybody. It's low, but enough light so that I can see their faces and their reactions. And when I'm reaching out to someone, I'm really reaching out to that person. I'm not just pointing anywhere in the crowd.
Right, makes a big difference, I'm sure, with your
Oh
audiences.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
really
and it helps you get you in the moment, because if you're just, doing the movements and singing and, muscle memory, magic doesn't happen.
right, right. That's a great story you had about Garth Brooks and about how you've taken that on in your
Yeah.
shows. That's really neat because I think it's very clear to an audience that they get that, they see that you're doing that. They can tell that you're sincere. The sincerity kind of rubs off, when it's like you're pointing and but when you
Yeah.
are, it's from the heart. They could tell that. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt
yeah.
they could tell
Yeah.
from the heart. So that's really a neat story. Um, anybody out there on the road right now that you feel like you have the same like similar style and demeanor and like you'd love to like share a stage with them at some
Mm.
point?
I mean, I've seen we're kind of we're different. I'm really different from what's out there, I would say. But Cody Johnson's he's so good. I've seen him live. He made me cry. He's really really good. Um, but a dream would be Brooks and Dunn, Ronnie Dunn. I mean, his voice is insane. I mean, when he starts singing, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that would be something to be, touring and just every night hearing that. That would be awesome.
And isn't that just interesting how they were put together, the two of
Yeah,
them? They were put together. They didn't know each other. They were melded by a label. And it's
yeah,
just the fact that it did what it did, it glued. Doesn't always happen. I mean, it's a rare
no,
situation that, someone can say, oh, two of you go together and, have fun. And look at their career. My
oh
goodness.
yeah.
So I agree with you. The voice, wow. So, um, what are your future plans for the rest of the year now? What do you got going on as far as
Oh, working
promoting
on
the
some,
single?
yeah, working on some new music. I have a song. I'm staying at the bar. I have one that's titled "If Bar Stools Could Cry." It's not a ballad. It's more up tempo, and I really love it. And some other new songs I'm working on. I'm gonna keep on releasing some new music and maybe an album. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If the single thing works, that's great. I mean, then you're in front of people more often. And like you said,
yeah,
the pros and cons of doing singles versus albums. There's lots of them.
yep.
Where's the best place for people to look for you on social media to see where you're interacting with people and reading their notes and telling
All
about your
right.
music?
Awesome. So, very easy. It's Robbie Johnson Music, Robby Johnson Music. That's my handle for every social media platform. You can find me, and yeah, that's the place to go.
Wonderful. Well, I hope we can send lots of people that direction for you after watching this, our time together here. I hope that they will chase down the website and look into your music. And I think they'll be very happy with what they hear. I really do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kevin.
It's my pleasure. I see someone in the background with a big clock, and I know you're in a studio, so we're not going to waste another moment. Thank you so much for your time. And we
All
really
right.
appreciate it, and all the best in your future endeavors this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.